The movie is set in 1962, when the United States and Soviet Union are at odds. In America, a rumor spreads that the Soviets might drop a nuclear bomb at any time, prompting many people to build a secret bunker in their homes. Eccentric scientist Dr. Calvin Weber is one of these citizens, and after months of hard work, he constructs a highly equipped fallout bunker in his backyard, with all the essentials needed to survive a nuclear war. One day, Calvin hosts a party at his house, and just then President Kennedy announces on live television that a covert mission against the Soviets is being planned. This frightens Calvin, making him believe that war is about to break out soon. He quickly sends the guests away and rushes to the secret bunker with his pregnant wife, Helen. Meanwhile, a plane flying over the city encounters a mechanical issue. It crashes directly into Calvin's house, destroying it entirely. Inside the bunker, Calvin concludes that nuclear war has started and promptly seals the door. He then informs his wife that the door will only open after 35 years, as it takes that long for nuclear particles to become safe in the atmosphere. With the house fully destroyed, Weber's neighbors and authorities assumed they died in the crash. Now, with each passing day, the couple begins adjusting to life inside the bunker. While Calvin feels at ease, Helen is uncomfortable and constantly worries about her family and friends. One day, Helen's water breaks, and she gives birth to a son. The couple is thrilled to have a child, and they decide to name their boy Adam. In the next scene, we get a broader view of their bunker. It is stocked to last 35 years, including a fish tank, fuel, a well-equipped lounge area, and a mini-mart filled with food. As time passes, Calvin homeschools his son and teaches him about American history. He hopes his son will someday rebuild the country. As before, the movie then jumps to the summer of 1965, when a team of construction workers clears Calvin's destroyed land and builds a diner. Cut to 10 years later, it is now the fall of 1975. Adam has grown into a kind and thoughtful boy who enjoys spending time with his parents. He takes regular boxing lessons from his father and dance lessons from his mother. Meanwhile, the diner turns into a pizzeria and then a nightclub in the basement. Calvin continues to teach his son about various subjects. He explains the stock market and gives lessons in French and Latin. While they talk, Calvin laughs at Adam's joke. One day, Calvin gives Adam a collection of his baseball cards and teaches him about sports. The movie then jumps to the summer of 1995, where Calvin and Helen celebrate their son's 33rd birthday. Adam is now a grown man who wishes to find a partner for himself. Next, it's 1997, and the bunker has reached its final stage. Finally, after 35 years, the bunker's door automatically unlocks, and the family eagerly goes to check. Calvin insists they wait until nightfall, so he can check first, as they are unaware of the current state of the world outside. Above the bunker, the diner has now become a haven for beggars. While the beggars drink, the ground suddenly shakes. Calvin emerges to the surface wearing a radiation suit, and upon seeing him, one of the beggars faints. Following this, Calvin ventures out into his old neighborhood, only to find that it has completely changed. He sees people jokingly pointing guns at him, and even stumbles upon an adult video store. Realizing that his neighborhood has deteriorated, he becomes concerned and returns to the bunker. At the dinner table, he tells his family that although the air above is breathable, the surface has turned into a post-apocalyptic wasteland filled with irradiated mutants. As a result, they must continue living underground. Helen, who by this point is fed up with life in the bunker, begins arguing. She says that regardless of the people above, she wants to leave their confined space and wants Adam to see the blue skies, touch the oceans and grass, and visit the mountains. Despite the heartfelt speech, Calvin still insists they remain underground, but while arguing, he suffers a heart attack. With supplies running low and Calvin becoming ill, Helen urges Adam to go outside and get whatever they need for the next couple of years. She hands him a list of grocery items and tells him it would be great if he could find a girl, one who isn't a mutant. Before leaving, Calvin warns Adam not to enter the adult video store, claiming it has dangerous levels of radiation. In truth, he is simply trying to keep his son away from vulgarity. After a while, Adam packs his bag and leaves the bunker for the first time. On the surface, he encounters Melker, the beggar who met his father the previous night. As Adam marvels at the outside world, Melker begins to worship Calvin and the elevator through which he and Adam emerged. Melker believes they are a divine force that has entered his life to change his fate. Meanwhile, Adam finally sees the blue sky above and waves at people on the streets, seeing them for the first time. He's amazed to see a woman of color and greets her. Next, he comes across the same adult video store his father had warned him about, so he quickly covers his nose and urges others to do the same. Later, Adam boards a bus, but he's frightened by the sensation of the vehicle moving. He speaks according to his limited knowledge, but it clearly doesn't match the norms of present-day life. After a while, Adam finally arrives at a grocery store and walks around, picking up the items his mother had listed for him. When he goes to buy meat, the butcher suggests that a larger order could be delivered directly to his home. Hearing the word home, Adam realizes he has forgotten the way back to his bunker. Worried, he desperately searches around the city for his bunker's location, but finds no trace of it by now. His cash nearly gone, he attempts to sell his father's vintage baseball cards at a hobby shop. The shop owner thinks Adam is crazy for trying to sell the cards at an incredibly low price, so he offers to buy the entire set for just $500. Just then, the shop's assistant, Eve, steps in and stops the owner from ripping him off. She informs Adam that each of his cards is worth at least $6,000, as they're all exceptionally rare. She then scolds her boss and quits her job right there. Seeing this, Adam is immediately captivated by her. After leaving the store, he pleads with Eve to drive him to the Holiday Inn restaurant, as his mother instructed. At first, Eve declines, but when Adam promises her 2 cards in exchange, she agrees. Soon, they arrive at the hotel, but before Adam can say anything, Eve heads home. The next morning, Adam receives a call from Eve, asking him to come down to the lounge area. She's come to return his card, as guilt has been bothering her. After handing back the card, she tries to walk away, but Adam asks her to help buy supplies, offering her $1,000 a week as her pay. Eve agrees, and they purchase truckloads of supplies, as Adam needs to ensure they'll last for at least 2 years. Later, he also asks Eve to help him find a wife, one who isn't a mutant. In the next scene, Adam meets Eve's gay housemate and best friend Troy, who is naturally curious. He asks Adam about his hometown, and Adam lies that he's from Alaska and is here on a business trip. Later, Eve and Troy give Adam a fashion makeover, and they even take him skateboarding. Next, Adam sees the ocean for the first time, excitedly dives into the water, and enjoys himself. He also goes to a baseball game, shouting with excitement that he finally understands what his dad was talking about. One day, it starts raining, and Adam feels raindrops for the first time in his life. Eve urges him to go back inside, but Adam wants to continue experiencing it. Out of nowhere, he hugs Eve tightly, implying he's truly enjoying life in the real world and perhaps has even experienced his first excitement. Later that evening, Eve and Troy take Adam to a 1940s-style swing nightclub to help him find a wife. They advise him to just be himself when approaching women. Surprisingly, Adam attracts the attention of several women, including Eve's rival, Sophie. When he and Sophie hit it off, Eve feels uncomfortable and pulls Adam away to a table. She then suggests he look for a sweet girl instead of Sophie. After a while, Adam approaches another girl, and they quickly get along when he asks her to dance. In no time, Adam impresses the crowd with his exemplary dancing skills, thanks to years of practice inside the bunker. Oh yeah, he learned it from his mom. Meanwhile, a jealous Eve reconnects with her ex-boyfriend, who instigates an argument with Adam. However, he quickly regrets it when Adam demonstrates his boxing skills, a result of daily training with his father in the bunker. Due to all the commotion, Eve gets irritated and decides to leave Adam and head home. A while later, Troy arrives and informs Eve that Adam left the club with Sophie. Hearing this, Eve storms out of the house and gets in her car to go get Adam back. Just as she's about to drive off, Adam suddenly knocks on the door, startling her. The two return to the house, and Adam explains that he politely rejected Sophie because he could only think of Eve. He then expresses his love for her, and they finally kiss. Now, with Eve by his side, he decides to tell her about his past. He reveals that he lived in a fallout bunker with his family for 35 years and is seeing the outside world for the first time. He also expresses his desire to make Eve his wife and take her to the bunker so they can live a happy life. However, Eve thinks he's crazy and asks him to leave. The following day, while learning to drive a truck with Troy, Adam spots the adult video store from earlier and finally discovers his bunker's location. He hurries back to Eve's house to tell her about his finding, but he notices 2 psychiatrists waiting for him there. Adam initially cooperates, but escapes after giving her the key to his hotel and all the cards before driving away in a truck. Later, Troy and Eve reach Adam's hotel room and find toothpaste from the 70s, along with a few valuable stock certificates which, upon checking with a friend in finance, are now worth millions. With this discovery, they realize Adam was telling the truth all along. Meanwhile, Adam returns after spending 2 weeks in the outside world. He hugs his parents and shares how lovely the world has become. Soon, Melker and his friends help Adam load the supplies into the bunker. On the other hand, Eve and Troy try to locate Adam's underground bunker, but have no luck finding it at night. As they're heading back, Eve spots Adam outside the adult video store. She immediately calls out to him, gets out of the car, and they embrace and kiss. Adam then takes her to meet his parents. Calvin and Helen are impressed with Eve, but Adam asks his father for 2 months to make arrangements outside. During this time, Adam and Eve sell the stocks to build a new home in the countryside, designed to look identical to his previous house, intending to bring Calvin and Helen to the surface gradually. After a few months, Adam's parents arrive at their new home. They are astonished to see all that their son has done for them. While Helen and Eve prepare dinner for the family, Adam confides in his father, revealing that there was never an atomic war, and that what they thought was a bomb was actually a plane crashing into their house. He also tells his father that the Soviet Union collapsed without a war. However, Calvin remains unconvinced and dismisses his son's revelation with a bit of humor. The movie ends with Calvin making plans to build a new fallout bunker as Eve watches from the kitchen window, smiling as she plays with her engagement ring. That's the end of the video. Out of all the content available out there and the various options, you gave your valuable time to this channel, for which I'm truly grateful. As you'd agree, producing this kind of content requires a lot of time and effort. So if you enjoyed it, please consider dropping a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel. It'll only take a second of your time, but will help us immensely and motivate us to create more content like this. Don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated on our next video. Thank you.